Carnosaur is a 1993 creature feature directed by Adam Simon. A down-on-his-luck security guard is the only one who can stop a mad scientist who is intent on destroying the human race by replacing them with flesh-eating dinosaurs.
But before that, I just want to ask if you could please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, Ken will turn the tap on when I'm in the shower.
You're damn right I will.
Needless to say, there will be spoilers ahead, but if that doesn't bother you, then grab your owl-flavoured popcorn and put on your crab hat as we dive into Carnosaur.
So, the movie begins in a bad guy boardroom, and I'm already wondering, is this guy about 3 foot tall, or are those chairs just fucking massive? Either way, business bad man is talking about bad business, and bloody hell, look at this guy's chin! Christ, if that thing had a brain, it'd take over the world. Then we meet evil scientist lady, who is monitoring her virus-infected chickens, who this guy is allergic to, and says, "Do excuse me while I sneeze directly in your face."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So these fellas are on chicken pickup duty, but notice that one of them has exploded into a big egg, which is a bit of a red flag if you ask me. Especially after it hatches into something distinctly unchicken-like and runs off to hide among the other chickens. Not thinking much of it, they load up the chickens anyway, and leave the poultry plant, which is bizarrely called Poo Rex, which paleontologists believe was the incontinent relative of the T-Rex. The chicken delivery van doesn't get far though before the driver hears a commotion in the back, so he stops to find out what's going on and is savaged by a tiny little raptor, which would be cute as hell if it wasn't so deadly. Oh, and the guy dying sounds like me trying to get to sleep every night. We then meet our protagonist, Doc, who isn't a doctor, but perhaps the worst security guard of all time, as he drunkenly chases some trespassers off the construction site, shouting, "Hold it! I got a gun! I can't shoot for shit!" But against all odds, he actually catches one of the trespassers, who turns out to be a pretty lady who calls herself Thrush, presumably after the bird, and not the yeast infection. So, Doc calls the sheriff, but he's busy sorting out dead chicken man, whose corpse he gives to a pathologist named Dr. Sterling Raven. Startled by the corpse's fatal injuries, he calls his colleague, Dr. Underwhelming Raven, to tell him that it looks like they were killed by some sort of prehistoric reptile. If only there was a name for such a thing. Back to Doc, and he's going with the sheriff to the camp of environmental activists, who were the ones that broke into the construction site last night. On the way, Doc wakes up from his nap, and the sheriff says,
Probably had yourself a nice little dream too, didn't you?
And Doc's like, "Actually, no. I was dreaming about weasels stealing my socks. It was terrifying." So they arrive and the sheriff tells the activists to stop being a bunch of dickheads, while Doc just stands there looking like the ultimate badass. Elsewhere, a bunch of beer-swigging teens hop in a car and go, "Woo! We're driving recklessly while intoxicated, woo!" Unfortunately, they narrowly avoid driving off a cliff, but don't worry because the little raptor soon shows up and is outraged by their reckless behaviour, so it gives them a good old shredding. Doc then finds Thrush on one of her isolated midnight road walks, and offers her a lift, which she can't refuse because he absolutely stinks of cool. But they soon stumble upon one of the raptor's victims, who sure is milking his disembowelment, and he should really just bang a plaster on it and shut up there. Back at the bad guy boardroom, and "What the fuck are you doing, sir? Sit your ass down in a chair before I fucking bray you." But his mania is interrupted when this last tells him that something has gone terribly wrong with Project Chicken.
The last thing we need is a biotech panic about chickens.
Don't know what he's worried about. I have a biotech panic about chickens every time I eat one.
We then cut back to evil scientist lady, who is talking to a fella who sounds like me waking up every morning. She leads him to a room telling him it'll cheer him up, but to the surprise of sad man, there's a T-Rex in the room instead, which eats him, making him even more sad. Back to the construction site and, oh, for God's sake! All of the environmental loonies have chained themselves to the construction equipment. Doc's well and truly fed up with their shit, so he goes to the local diner, and hey, it's that weird-looking fella. I've seen him in other movies. What's his name again?
Let's have a look-see. Clint Howard, that's the fella. I'll have to remember that for next time.
But while Doc is away, our janky animatronic raptor turns up to the construction site and is all like, "Hello, hello, what's going on here then?" And is pleasantly surprised to find that its food is unable to run away. Needless to say, it has a jolly old time ripping these idiots to shreds, with this one lady looking a little less bothered than you'd expect about getting her leg bitten off. Then Doc shows up and sees the raptor, which is like, "Yeah, what's up, Doc?" before taking off into the darkness. Doc is also relieved that Thrush is still alive, as she was hiding in the cab of one of the diggers. While she recovers, Doc goes to try and find the beast, but instead finds a van with some dead guys in it, and evil scientist lady on the radio asking if they've found the escaped raptor. So Doc thinks, right, if she's behind this, I'm going to go and give her a right telling off. So he does. He breaks into the facility and says, "Why are you making dinosaurs, you crazy lady?" And she says, "'Cause I like dinosaurs, so fuck off." And he's like, well, I like dinosaurs too, but you're mental, you are. Meanwhile, the sheriff, being a good husband, decides to make breakfast for his wife, but the eggs are looking a little past their use-by date. Oh, and one of them has a bloody dinosaur embryo in it. I'd take it right back to the shop saying,
"Excuse me, shopkeep, but this egg you sold me contained an embryonic theropod from the Cretaceous era." What? Right, let me try this another way. There's a fucking dinosaur in me egg, mate. Oh, no way, man, a reeling. Aye, fucking hell, give you a tenner for it. Aye, go on then.
Elsewhere, Ron Eastwood is punishing his chickens for trying to run away by eating some fried chicken in front of them. But the raptor isn't happy because that one was his uncle, so he bites off Ron's head. Back to the sheriff, and he's taken the tiny dinosaur to Dr. Adequate Raven. But he can't hear what he's saying because the very rude patients in the waiting room won't stop coughing. So he says, "Shut up in there! I know half of the town's contracted a mysterious virus from eating chicken, but I'm trying to look at this tiny dinosaur! So shut up!"
And believe it or not, this is where the film gets really weird.
As back in the chicken lab, Doc watches as evil scientist lady tries to help her colleague, who is also suffering from the strange virus. But hang on, is she giving birth? But she wasn't pregnant. Oh my god, she just died giving birth to a dinosaur egg. Yep, evil scientist lady has engineered a chicken virus which makes women die while giving birth to dinosaur eggs, with her overall goal being for it to spread to every woman on Earth, therefore repopulating the world with flesh-eating dinosaurs.
Now, I bet you never thought you'd hear that when you woke up this morning.
Anyway, the government have now taken notice of the epidemic and plan to quarantine the town so the virus doesn't spread. They create roadblocks too, and stop this poor fella who's trying to get help for his sick wife. So they take her away, and this moron says,
"Hey, is she gonna be all right?" "Well, okay, I'm gonna head back into town then, and you have Donna give me a call when she's feeling better. I'll get Annie to fill in for her when she's feeling..."
"Oh, you guys are holding me at gunpoint? Okay, that's cool. I held a mouse at gunpoint once, but it didn't understand." Elsewhere, the sheriff is fed up with this dinosaur shit, so he arms up and goes looking for the raptor, and sounds just like me playing hide and seek.
I know you're here. Come on out! I'm waiting for you! Right here, come on!
He soon finds it though, and gives it a good old blast with Mr. Shotty, but foolishly stands over it as it's dying, and it sticks him with its big claw right before he blasts its head off. Oh well, at least he got the scaly bugger before he kicked the bucket. Back at the lab, and Doc thinks, oh no, I hope Thrush hasn't come down with the Dino Prego death virus, so he runs home to see if she's alright. But the dumbass takes a wrong turn and ends up in the T-Rex room, which chases him as he tries to find the actual way out. Oh, an evil scientist lady finds that she's infected with the virus too, but she's pretty stoked about it actually, and even rips open her abdomen with her bare hands to help the baby dinosaur come out of it.
Man, that's fucked up. This film is fucked up.
Doc manages to climb up a ladder and escape through a tunnel, leaving the T-Rex thinking, oh, that's not fair, I can't fit in there. Looks like my chase ends here. Where? Or so you may think, but nope, the big-headed bastard just rams its way through a wall like a champion, thinking, heh, you ain't getting rid of me that easily. Doc gets back home, and despite her namesake, Thrush hasn't got the infection. But then Doc looks out the window and sees the T-Rex has followed him home, so he's like, right, I'm sick of you, you big shit, I'm gonna give you a right old thrashing. So he hops into his trusty digger with a spiky thing on the front of it, and after a good bit of back and forth battling, he rams the bugger into extinction. So Doc returns to Thrush and all is well, because they aren't infected and, oh, the quarantine guys are here. But what are they doing? Oh no. Oh good God, no!
Maybe it's not as bad as it looks.
And there we have it. Carnosaur is an absolutely wild, bizarre and seriously messed up movie, and much like Carnosaur 3 Primal Species, despite its wonky special effects and abundant cheese, I loved it.
So, Carnosaur, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you loathe it? Let me know in the comments below, and if you could please like and subscribe to my channel, it would make me very happy. But above all else, thanks for watching. Now the only question left is, do I do a video on Carnosaur 2? Well, I think we already know the answer to that question. Maybe.